And making his way to the cage, we have Mr. Gabe Parrott. He is coming to us by way of Montrose, Colorado, fighting out of Team Gold Rush and Golden Fights. He describes himself primarily as a kickboxer, folks. He's going to be brought out to the cage by Andrew Yates. You know, he's a kid who is really looking to make a statement in this initial performance. And he says that you can expect to see aggression.
Hey, that's always what we love to see here in the fights, right? We want to come out, be aggressive, and set a pace. You know, he's only been training since August 2020, so we'll go see how far his skill set has come from then.
Certainly, but, you know, Josh, on some of these amateur ranks, at times we see guys who have had, you know, he's had nearly a year of training, being that we're August to August. We see sometimes guys that have 6 weeks of training on the amateur cards.
Natural-born killers out there.
Or just have that wild hair and they want to go in there and they want to slug it out with somebody. So we will see what all he's been able to put into the arsenal and what he's willing, or what he's been able to put together in this year time.
Yeah.
Now sometimes we see these fighters who take a fight after a very short time of training MMA, but let's say, for example, they had a lifetime worth of wrestling experience. You know, they were a kid who wrestled all the way through high school, were a college wrestler, or dabbled in some collegiate wrestling. And then it's a fairly easy transition for someone like that, or potentially someone who, say, went through the Golden Gloves ranks and boxed as a kid and then is starting to make the transition. But for some of these guys who don't have that combat sports background, or at least when we ask, they don't share that part of their background with us, that's something that we have to kind of weigh in, you know. And making his way to the red corner, we have Brandon Ferguson. The muscular octopus comes to us by way out of Brighton, Colorado. He trains at Frontline Wrestling and Jiu-Jitsu. He will be making his MMA debut as well. Folks, each of these fighters step onto the scales at 143.6 and 143.8 pounds, respectively. Walking Mr. Ferguson down to the cage, we have Darnell Howard as well as Steven Martinez. You know, this is one that we rarely see, though, Josh.
Yeah.
As far as an influence goes, Brandon Ferguson says Shinya Aoki is one of his major influences. That's just not a name that you see so many, or a common name that you would see fighters list as their major influence.
No, and I have a feeling that Brandon really loves martial arts, because unless you're deep into martial arts, you don't come across that name very often.
No, you don't. And also with that, you don't really, unless you're really into the martial arts and that sort of culture and world, you don't wear Dragon Ball Z trunks either.
That is true.
Which my man is coming in here ready to get Super Saiyan. He's got the, I believe, I'm not the most anime-versed folks, so excuse me if I get this wrong, but I believe that's the Goku.
That's Goku.
Okay,
yes, sir. There we go.
I got that one. I got that one.
Might have had to kick you out of here if you got it wrong, but
you know, I don't really have a good response for that one right there, Josh, because I feel like if I should get one, that's the one I should get.
That should be the one, yeah. But hey, Jordan, this is a great fighter nickname, the Muscular Octopus.
Absolutely.
I would love to hear the story of how that came to be.
I'm going to have to probably base it off of just, you know, knowing that he comes out of a wrestling and a grappling camp, that this guy's probably like a wet blanket when he gets on top of you.
Could be, yeah.
Just using some context clues to try to,
clues.
You know, try to use my reading skills that the public schooling system equipped me with here. You know, drawing some context clues, a little bit of inferences here.
It is brought to you by Costa Films. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the Steel City Solar Red Corner. He weighed in at already 143.6 pounds. He is making his MMA debut. He comes to us all the way from Grand Junction, representing Golden Fights. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Mr. Gabe Parrott! And his opponent, fighting out of the Magazine Corner. He weighs in at already 143.1 pounds. He is also making his MMA debut. He represents Frontline BJJ. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Brandon Ferguson! Your third man in the cage, Mr. Joe Oka.
Now, Josh, I will say that if One of these guys, obviously, is most likely, we very rarely see draws. One of these guys is going to get their hand raised tonight.
Correct.
One man listed that his go-to meal after a fight is burritos. The other listed tacos. We are in the best city in the world for Mexican food. Or the best city in America. The best city in the United States, that I should say, for it. So they're in the right place. And right away, we see the drop down for the takedown from Brandon Ferguson. Brandon Ferguson works his way over to the back to Gabe Parrott, and we might see a very quick finish by way of rear naked choke. He's already starting. He's got both hooks in. He's looking to flatten him out right here, folks. He's got the seatbelt across, not completely secured, but we see one arm across the neck.
Sneaking it in there. We can definitely see why he's called the muscular octopus right now.
Yeah, I think that got answered really quickly, Josh.
Very fast.
Now he's starting to work in the body triangle right here.
The choke is a little bit
off, but he's got him
chin,
flattened out.
But he still could sneak that in there.
And Josh, the way that he has that triangle and he's trying to crank him with the pressure from the lower body, that's just so uncomfortable on the spine and across the jawline of Gabe Parrott right now. He has to be fighting through a considerable amount of pain.
Oh, yeah. The pressure that body lock's creating is very, very much not comfortable. But, Brandon's out here doing a great job. He's getting a little high right here, so good job by Gabe to fight through this. But we have his legs are up right now, about to throw up a triangle immediately.
Incredible resiliency right there, though, from Gabe Parrott to be able to work his way out of a very, very bad position to get himself back up on top. He's not out of danger
yet.
Especially with a strong guard play guy like Brandon Ferguson.
Yeah, Brandon has these legs. He's throwing this guard up here, making everything just a fight. Good job on Gabe's part.
Gabe Parrott needs to posture himself up right now to try to create some space and start scoring with some damage points right now.
Yeah, now he got him pushed up against the cage. This is where he needs to start, setting some damage up. Like you said, posture up, keep his composure, and start landing some punches, get some damage going.
But even still at this right now, Josh, we can kind of see a little bit of that inexperience on the ground coming through, in that he's not following hips the way that you would like to see to keep the head up against the fence. He's allowing Ferguson to kind of start to circle out and work his hips for an angle. We almost saw the armbar get thrown up right there.
Good job at Parrott posturing up.
Start to posture a little. No, stay down. He's looking on the go-go again. He's trying to get that leg.
And we may see a sweep if he comes up too high right here. Parrott comes up too high with both feet in the same place, in the same position. We might see that sweep over to the top.
Don't worry about it. Nope. There it is.
These legs of Brandon Ferguson are gonna be trouble.
And it's a very, very active guard on the bottom too from Brandon Ferguson. He's attacking this whole time, folks. You may not get to see the full angle just by the way that the bodies are tied up, but he's been attacking shoulder locks, he's been attacking triangles, arm bars the entire time from this guard right here.
This is what you want to see when you're on your back and someone's on top. You want to continue to attack as much as you can. It's either attack, sweep, or get up. And he was attacking nonstop that whole first round.
Exactly. And also at that, he was able to neutralize pretty much any damage from that position too as well.
Did very well in tying up the hand, so he didn't take any damage virtually. But great resiliency from Gabe, He came out, got in a bad position early, fought through it, got in another bad position, fought through it. Let's see if he can get his composure here in the second round, in between rounds, and come out and implement his game plan.
Absolutely, because Josh, we've seen it time and time again. Some of these guys who get very comfortable with their guard play, especially some heavily jiu-jitsu background guys, you can potentially take a lot of damage while you're trying to play the guard game, especially in MMA. Hey, in jiu-jitsu all day long, you don't have to worry about those punches. Now, folks, this is an amateur fight, so there is no elbows being thrown tonight, but you do have to worry about the damage factor in MMA.
Yeah.
I would like to see the head position a little bit more from Gabe while he's down there on the ground, to be able to then create space to where he can posture up and rain down some damage points here.
Land some points. We come out in the second round a little bit slower, but trying to find the range. There we go. We have Gabe coming out, throwing a nice combo.
Nice
defended the round, defended the shot.
We have a mouthpiece out, and Ferguson might be
rushed in. Nice shot out here by Ferguson.
Ferguson got clipped a little bit on that combo from Gabe Parrott.
Yeah, he did not look comfortable on his feet. Gabe should have just backed off, but he rushed in, and here we are in a position.
There's a chance that we may see a Von Flue choke here, folks. If Brandon Ferguson if he can get his legs up, if he gets his hips high in the air and drives his shoulder down into the neck of Parrott, it looks like he's setting up for it right now. Okay, and thankfully Gabe Parrott, he let off of that right there. Now,
little pause in between.
Little pause in the action to get the mouthpiece back in the mix. And from the full mount right here, we see Brandon Ferguson starting to work to high mount. We may see him start to step up for an arm bar.
Definitely got to be careful if you're Gabe extending that arm like that. And here we are back in this position.
Gabe Pro needs to try to get his head out of there right now.
Wow. We got a reverse triangle arm bar set up here.
Yeah, there's a few different ways that this can get finished. You can go key lock right here, Josh. You can break the grip to be right into an Americana. There's so many different ways that this position is an advantage for Ferguson right now.
Yeah. Going for the straight arm bar here. He's fighting through. Can he get up?
He might be able to work his way out if he can start to stack himself. His head is sliding out. He shaved his head from yesterday from weigh-in, so that slippery bald head might do some work. And he's out. What a display of heart. Man, can he do something with it? He has got to do damage now to try to get himself back in this fight. Big hammer fist from the top from Gabe Parrott. But I would like to see him, as that guard opens from Brandon Ferguson on the bottom, I would like to see him try to work to pass the guard.
It looks like Parrott is really fresh right now.
Now, right now, we see a high guard coming from Brandon Ferguson. What are you looking to see now from Gabe?
From Gabe, push him against the cage. Get your arms out of there. You're playing too much in his game. He was doing, there we go. We have him inching towards the cage. There we go. We need to see him posture up, land some punches. Make sure that Brandon is not comfortable off his back throwing up all these attacks. Because he's only comfortable throwing up all these attacks because he's not having to worry about damage.
Now talk to me about the hips from the top here from Gabe Pro. We haven't really seen him engage his hips and drive in his hips from that top position. And even now as he's standing, his hips are still far out.
Still far out, and that's dangerous. You got to keep your hips in and follow the guy on the bottom, because if you see his hips are out, it's going to leave him susceptible to all of those attacks, the triangles, the arm bars, the go-go platas. Everything's going to be there if your hips are far away. And there we are, survived the second round.
Josh, we might have a 1-1 ball game going into the third here.
You know what? I could see it could possibly be 1-1 right now. Yeah, Gabe came out in that one fired up after he got out of that submission, started landing a bunch of ground and pound shots. We got to see how Brandon comes out here. He looked a little slow coming out in the second round.
We also didn't see near the submission threat activity level in that round once they were down in the guard from Brandon Ferguson, but that could also be in part, Josh, because it did look, like I say, like he got clipped a little bit with that initial exchange. So how much of that was a recovery, scramble, and grapple situation?
Correct. So I would like to see Gabe come out here and be a little more methodical with his striking.
And I say that obviously aside from the triangle situation that we were looking at there, that obviously worked out in his favor. But aside from that, Gabe Pro was able to pretty much hold himself in a good position. So yes, folks at home, I'm not neglecting the near finish that we did see from the submission. Third and final round, decided all right here, folks. They touch it up in the middle. Who wants it more?
Oh, nice leg kick. Got to defend these shots. If you're Gabe, got to keep him off you. Oh, jump it. Don't be silly. Jump for the ghillie.
Now, right now, up against the fence right there, if Brandon Ferguson is able to, and he just did
Looks
pass
like
that
he
leg
passed
over,
that guard.
He's for the most part out of trouble from this guillotine right now, folks. Now, ideally, Gabe Pro wants to let go.
You want to
of
let go of that.
He puts himself in jeopardy for a Von Flue choke. It's just a blood choke that the top guy drops the shoulder right into the neck.
There we go. We see him setting it up right here.
You're safe, you don't got it.
And here we are.
From the Von Flue setup, we see Brandon Ferguson slide himself back over. He knee sliced himself over into full mount. Now he's working into that high mount, trying to set up for an arm again.
Brandon Ferguson is relentless with his attacks, non-stop attacks.
Now,
Go, Gabe, you gotta give up.
Gabe Perreault, he's working to get himself down. Now he gets himself to turtle a lot, but then he finds himself in trouble because he seems to stop once he gets to this
You
base.
can't stop right there. You got to keep creating that scramble. Get your hips high. There we go.
But
We're
I
back
do love
in.
the scrape right there. That
The
scrape,
scrape was
beautiful.
nice.
That's it. You out. Hit.
Now this is where he needs to start raining down some shots. Gabe Perreault does.
Keep going, Gabe. Watch the
There,
triangle.
can't. Got to
Gabe,
posture
watch
up.
the triangle. Keep both
Some of this,
shoulders in,
Josh,
both
this may be
shoulders in.
interesting
Baby, sink them.
if the rest of the round continues in a fashion like this. How do you score this when, you know, with the guy who's been on top, who's done some damage, but maybe not enough damage as opposed to the guy on the bottom who's been relentless with the attack?
Not enough. If I was scoring this, I would definitely so far give it to Brandon Ferguson just because the amount of attacks that he has thrown up.
Gabe, he ain't doing nothing. Let's go.
Now, right here, if you are Gabe Perreault, are you trying to sink your hips in, try to posture up and get past that guard? He seems to be comfortable sitting in the guard.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely need to posture up, and you don't really have to worry about passing
And we
so
have a
much as
stalemate
in.
stoppage.
And
Going
we're
back to
standing
the
up.
feet.
We're back in here.
Now, the one thing that scares me, the way that Brandon Ferguson has shot so far tonight, is he shot naked all night, and that time he shot naked again, and it happened to
And
work.
it worked for him.
He's worn damage off of the last couple of them, but it seems to have worked so far.
There we go. We got Gabe back up to his feet. Back up to his feet. Can he get?
We have 30 seconds left in this round, folks. 30 seconds could be the difference. 10 seconds now. Time went faster than I was counting.
Another takedown at the end of the
Another takedown
round.
right there for Brandon Ferguson. I would not want to be a judge for that fight.
No, that was a tough fight. I only solely give it to Brandon Ferguson because the amount of attacks that he has thrown up. But Gabe Perreault, what heart! That's a good show of heart right there. Fought through a bunch of tough positions. Towards the end of the fight, started getting his way with getting up and not being stuck on the ground. But like you said, tough job for the judges tonight.
Absolutely, and hey, the thing is right now, Josh, as we take a look into the cage, Gabe Perreault looks still like he could go for a little bit.
He looks like he's ready to go. He still has that energy in him. And you know, him getting stuck in those guard positions is just being young in the sport. He'll learn within the next couple of fights that you can't just lay your head there and let the guy from the bottom throw up those legs and keep you at a high guard. Got to posture up and throw some damage. Could have saved himself a lot of breathing, a lot of time to breathe.
Certainly, and even in some of those stalemate positions, Josh, it just looks a lot better on the judges' scorecards when you're able to pass the guard. Even
Correct.
if you're sitting in three-quarter, if you're sitting in side control, something to that, it just looks a lot better from the judge's standpoint in that you did something to advance your
To
position.
advance, yeah.
Chief Inspector Eric Hines has now handed the official decision over to our ring announcer, Aaron Varau, and we are about to have the official result. And double take real quick.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, how about that for a war right there? The judges have reached the decision. Judge Abiaga sees about 30-27 for Ferguson. Judge Mason sees about 29-28 for Parrott. Judge Tom Johnson sees about 30-27 for your winner. Fighting out of the blue corner, Brandon Ferguson!
A lot closer on those scorecards than would assume, but we have Brandon Ferguson coming out with the decision.
Hey, Josh, what did I tell you right there? That was going to be a tough one on the judges' scorecards
That was
right
tough,
there,
yeah.
as one of the judges did happen to see it in favor of the red corner in Gabe. So you never know what you're going to see sometimes with the judges. That's why I had to point that out of, you know, how do you look at that when you see someone who's been on top for a considerable amount, but someone who's on the bottom and attacking.
That is correct, yeah.
Let's see what Mr. Ferguson has to say.
Kind of fell into shots, just kind of seemed to go your way the entire time.
Yeah, I'm used to taking shots like that. Our style of jiu-jitsu, post on that stuff. He's looked out at some of my finishes. coaches, my family, and anybody who's there to help me get through this.
Congratulations, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, Mr. Brandon Ferguson.
Congratulations to Brandon Ferguson picking up his win tonight in a hard-fought battle right there. You know, I think that he has some things that he can really